Greetings, hello again, welcome back. It's been a little while since I've checked in with all of y'all. Well, I took some time off, been trying to keep busy, and I wanted to start by saying that this is the official start of my second season. For those of you who are following, for those of you who care, for those of you who just want to hang out or have something to listen to keep them company while they go through their day-to-day endeavors. A lot has happened since the last time I checked in, and none of it is good. I mean, things have happened in my personal immediate life that are fine, as I certainly hope that has been the case with you there listening to this right now. I don't necessarily have to get into everything, but for those of everyone that have been paying attention and log on and off social media regularly, it's no mystery that tensions are at an all-time high right now, as hard as that is to believe, because everything just kind of keeps escalating, getting worse and worse and worse. But here we are. So I hope in the near future things can calm down, things can find themselves in an easier environment, less escalation. I guess I'm asking for too much, though, if I think that. There's been massacres going on left and right. Obviously it goes without saying, but the other day, a certain individual who I don't necessarily want to name drop for the fear of, how easily combative people are getting over it, and this particular individual I was never a fan of. I wouldn't wish what happened to him, though, on anyone, not in a million years. This really is not how we should be going about doing things in this day and age. But here we are, and let's just say management in this country, so to say, is not doing any justice to de-escalate these heightened tensions. If anything, they are encouraging them. It's constantly people being pitted against one another, left and right. I can't get my head around all of the hypocrisy happening, all of the infighting. People are quite literally at each other's throats about this topic, and there's various different things that are layered on top of each other right now, but I wouldn't wish what happened on my worst enemy, regardless of what you think or feel about this individual, because certainly I was not a fan, absolutely not a fan in any way, shape, or form, but I've been sick to my stomach these past few days, and I really wish things didn't end up the way they were. I really wish I could be the person I was before I saw that. I saw the footage, because it was just tossed out for the world to see, like within the first couple of minutes. There was no way that all of these social media filters were going to be able to push that aside or prevent it from getting to where it ended up, because this it was disgusting. I still have a pit in my stomach. I it's wrong on every level, and I understand there is massive hypocrisy surrounding the behavior of the individuals that were supportive of him, and I can understand why somebody that you valued being removed in such a horrible fashion is going to make you angry. It's going to infuriate you. I get it, but this isn't the time to be pointing fingers like they are. I'm not going to be getting preachy here. I'm not going to be sitting here saying what's right and what's wrong. But I will say here that this country has absolutely lost itself in all of this. And it's been building up. There's a lot of things that have happened over these past few months that I've been so hurt and pissed off by, but because I'm in the trans community, somehow I'm demonized with no remorse, with zero tolerance. I don't do anything to anyone. I don't hurt anyone. I voice my views and my opinions across my socials. That's what it's for. That's what people are allowed to do. And the amount of heat I personally have gotten just for existing, just for existing, is it ain't right. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone else. I don't wish that for anyone else. It's one thing to be pissed off about the hypocrisy happening, like how anytime there is an atrocity like so that happens and it impacts people that identify as leftists or in the liberal categories, the right tends to cheer and praise and laugh it off. They value the instruments of the destruction far more than the people that fall victim to it. And then you have this instance where it was one of their own, and they were ready to go to war. And they were so ready to, yet again, blatantly and blindly demonize such a small and vulnerable, marginalized community that, like, first of all, they keep trying to paint us as some kind of group of horrible individuals that are full of malice. That could not be farther from the truth. The math is there to suggest otherwise, and if you disagree with that, like you just simply accept the fact that it is your blind bigotry that is not allowing you to see the objective truth. Now, there was that massacre that happened where the individual that had done what they did to a group of children that were minding their own business innocently in the world, as they are entitled to do, and their lives were stolen. This individual was sick in the head. This individual had access to tools and weapons that they clearly shouldn't have had. At one point, this person was a member of or identified, rather, as a trans individual. They detransitioned, though. They were not feeling it. That means they were never trans. They were never actually a part of the community. They were most likely in a phase where they were exploring themselves, and it went sour, because an individual like that, no matter what they say or do to find themselves, they are never going to be happy, because all they want to do is bestow misery on others. The amount of misery that they have felt through their entire lives. They want to spread it like a wildfire. And in doing so, our wonderful, wonderful government here decided that people like myself are enemies. We're these horrible, sick individuals, which could not be further from the truth. It makes no sense. There's nothing. They're not basing this off of anything other than bigotry. I would never feel that way. If the shoe was on the other foot, if we lived in a society full of extreme, I mean, like, those would argue that, well, we did. No. If we lived in a society where conservatives, where right-wingers were demonized to the point to where they felt that their literal lives are on the line, I would be on their side. I don't tolerate that. I don't put up with that. That's wrong. Behavior like that is wrong. Whoever is being victimized from the system, who is being tortured by the highest and the most powerful people in the country, it is a sickening process. It is disgusting. I will never, in any way, shape, or form, support individuals that are attacked. I will always stand by the little guy. That goes both ways. Now, with that being said, the entire right-wing media monstrosity that is Twitter, X, whatever. Honestly, at this point, they're all the same thing. Except one has Elon Musk infecting it worse than the other ones. So you have all of these individuals, him included, by the way, that were ready to push the narrative of the left being the reason why the atrocity happened a couple of days ago. And it turned out that the individual responsible was one of their own. And now the mentality has shifted. So many of them have just gone radio silent. They were ready to essentially push for a civil war from within the country. And our fucking asshole of a president just gets up there and in times like this, a president is supposed to guide, is supposed to talk down tensions and call for unity. That's never what this joke of a person is going to do. They're going to sit there and they're going to encourage violence between the left and the right because that's all they're doing. Somehow, even though it has been disclosed who the perpetrator of this was, one of their own, someone who eats, sleeps, and breathes right ideology, and given they belonged to a variation of right-wing extremism that almost makes moderate conservatism seem liberal and friendly. So, guns are the problem. I don't understand why we have not understood that. Like, of course, the mental health of the person needs to be taken into account as well. That should go without fucking saying. That you should be within good mental health, or at least a stable place before you even leave your house or your apartment, let alone have instruments of destruction. I understand that, of course, there are good people out there that own firearms and have never harmed an innocent person, have never done anything anywhere near as disgusting and horrible as, the horrible shit that went on the other day. and that goes without saying. But this has been happening far too much. There are innocent people constantly. And, again, regardless of what you think about the person that this happened to, I'm trying to be as respectful as possible. There's a lot that could be said and done, because obviously I'm showing more respect to this individual than they ever would have shown to someone like me. So, but again, that goes without saying. So, but guns are the problem. I'm not sorry for saying that. This has been happening far too much. You want to blame the left, you want to blame the right. Guess what all of these instances have in common? If the individual never had access to a firearm, then these massacres and atrocities would not be carried out. End of story. If the dude runs in there, I'm not even going to start going down any what-if scenarios. That's just silly. But this type of rhetoric is dangerous. This country has been going in this downward spiral for, I feel like it's been about 10 years now. Since the first time that thing was sitting in office. Biden, love him or hate him, it was a boring 4 years. I don't think he was a bad dude. Questionable. Sometimes he did some less than favorable things, but everything pales in comparison to what has been going on and to the level of political tensions that are just being carried out every day. Every single night before I go to bed, I dread, and I dread waking up and checking the different social medias, checking Threads, checking Twitter, checking Blue Sky. Like, they're all the same fucking thing at this point. They're all the same poisonous, cancerous platform where everyone is just at each other's throats. There's truth be told, most of the reason I even like going on social media is because I like blogging about horror movies. That's it. Something as simple and innocent as, hey, I like Michael Myers movies. Oh, wow, look at that fan art. Oh, my God, look at that statue that person made. Whoa, look at that cosplay. I just enjoy the horror aesthetic. And I will tell you that nothing in any of these movies, these books, these forms of media can even come close to the horrific nature of what is going on in the real world at this moment. None of it. I can binge watch horror movies day in and day out, and mind you, it's all fiction. It's not real. These are just artists coming together to tell a grotesque story. And I enjoy that. And I like connecting with other people that simply enjoy that. It's good to relate to individuals on a healthy level. That, to me, that's what these social platforms are supposed to be for. And every day you log on now and you got somebody starting shit with you that you don't know. They have 2 followers. It's a bot profile. It's just some asshole living in their basement. Like, I don't understand why everyone feels the need to, and I understand, saying everyone sounds very pessimistic, because 9 out of 10 times you're not going to get that type of person. But there is that 1 out of 10 time where when you do, it's gonna throw off your day. It's gonna throw off your morning. You're having a cup of coffee, you want to check on the news, you want to see what your friends are doing, Like, okay, cool, and then you do, and it's like, wow, I've gotten all this hate mail. Why have I gotten this hate mail? Like, because these people had just found out my sexual orientation or my gender. Like, what? I'm sorry. I would never log on to somebody else's profile and just immediately start bashing them. There's nothing to be served of that. There's just nothing. No good can come of that kind of behavior. But we're now living in a world here in modern neo-Nazi America where every day this hostile rhetoric floods the streets. It infects our minds. It infects our days. Like I put the phone down. I try to just go about my work, go about my day-to-day business, just try to indulge myself in the fantasy worlds I enjoy reading about or partaking in, playing video games, movies, music, things to just get your creative jive going. But I feel like there's just all of these emotional and spiritual blockers up now that just, I feel like no matter what you do, like just there's this thick toxin in the air that is just cutting down on you, and it's suffocating. It just creates this monster that you can't even see in the air and in the walls, in your head. It's just this parasite that is infecting every part of everyone's day, no matter where they go, what they do, who they see, what they think, what they feel. It has to stop for the sake of the future, for the sake of the kids that are growing up in this. Like, they shouldn't have to deal with this stuff. They shouldn't have to deal with being afraid to go to school. As someone who grew up in the 90s, that was one of the best times to be a kid. I mean, given, life has always been stressful in some point or another, but, I certainly didn't come from a wealthy family by any means. I still struggle. Life has always been a struggle, but at least I felt safe. Going to school, sure, I had my anxieties, I had my depression, but I was still able to go to school, do my shit, come home, and feel okay, Like this, I can't even imagine what it must be like to be a kid now and go to school and have to worry about things like this. Like, back when I was in high school even, all right? So we're talking from like 2005 to 2009. As far as things like that were referenced, and I'm being tasteful here, was reference to the Columbine atrocity. So you'd hear about things like that and be like, oh my God, like that was so bad, that was awful. It's like, God, it's such a good thing that like we've moved on from, as a society, we've moved on from stuff like that. And then somewhere along the line, it just got so much worse. And my heart breaks for everyone. As angry as I may get, as much as I can despise certain people or disagree with them in even a super heated fashion, like I don't wish things like what happened the other day to anyone. And I can't stress enough how much I did not agree with this individual's ideologies in any way, shape, or form. Like, I'd see them, I'd hear them, and I would just be like, oh my fucking God, dude, shut up. But, like, that shouldn't have happened. It should not have fucking happened. Things are only getting worse now. And that seems to be the way of things, the element of the modern world. But thank you for joining me today. I certainly hope you're doing well. I hope everyone is doing okay, or as good as you can. We're going to get through this. How intact, I don't know, but we're going to get through it. This is the official start of Season 2 here, for those of you following, for those of you listening, and for those of you keeping me company. I need it. I'm glad to have you here, and I'm happy to be a part of your life as well. So, ciao for now. Much love, and I will see you next time. Hopefully, I can talk about something a little less stressful and depressing. But all right, fam. Peace out. I love you. Bye bye.